Now recording.
Okie dokie. It is Wednesday, January 17th, 2024, and welcome everybody to the Aladdin DAO community call.
We've
Glad to
decided
have you
this
here.
one's going to be, I'm going to put on my best radio announcer voice and say, welcome everyone. We're staying warm and talking about Aladdin here on this beautiful Wednesday morning / evening / probably it's a different day for half of the attendees of the call.
Okay, I'm K-Meds, and I'm here with Terry Gross from NPR, and so we will be discussing...
And this is the delicious dish.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be discussing all things Aladdin this morning. Oh,
Yeah.
boy. Yeah, we've got it's a kind of a little bit of a brief call, but nonetheless, everything on it's pretty important, I think.
Pretty exciting. Well, and
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the boosting. Oh my God, I got ahead of us. Don't. Okay.
Well, there you go. All right. Let's jump in, shall we?
Let's kick off with F of X.
F of X, yes. So, as we tweeted out yesterday, Epic 1 or Season 1 of the Rebalance Pool farming for the bonus FXN is completed. So,
Awesome.
I believe folks can
and
go check it out.
the rewards, whatever your allocation was from that distribution of 2,000 FXN, which last I looked at price, that's like $20,000 that we just kind of said, here you go, Blappo.
That's right.
That's a big deal. So check out your allocation. You can go and check it out on the FFX website under Rebalance Pool. Open up the Rebalance Pool you're deposited in, and you should be able to see. And I believe claiming is claimable now already. Is that right, Charlene?
I believe that's correct.
I
Yes.
believe it's correct. Yeah, because we left it
it's
up
gonna
for
be-
it.
Claiming is going to start at 5:15.
3 hours.
In 3 hours. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Today, but not yet. So in 3 hours, we're looking at making that claimable. So suggest to everybody go in, check out what your allocation looks like. Come ask any questions you have in the Discord. The reason that we don't make it immediately claimable is just to give people a chance to see what's there. As everybody knows, our vesting contract has got this nice feature where we can like show the numbers before we actually kick off the like distribution. And so with the distribution kicking off in a few hours, you still have a chance to go and check before the final tokens go out.
Yep. And there you go. And then that worked out so nicely, and everyone seemed to enjoy it, that we've got another round kicking off here.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's keep this train rolling, I say.
That's right, yes. And so that's going to start ASAP, like today, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to work just like the first round. Is that right?
Mhm. Yep, 2,000 FXN. It'll last for a month. And so just get your FETH and deposit in the rebalance pools.
That's right. Get in there, because I mean, these guys, these are time limited. We're talking about, season 1 and season 2. This isn't an American show, all right? This is like a British show. It's like if you get 2 seasons, you're lucky, But
it's Toyota-thon for FX. There you go.
We're not going to be in like season 12 and the show is Jump the Shark and where this is a limited run. So get in on this. Basically one of the very, very small number of places where FXN is even available at this point in time. So this is exciting stuff. We're going to get, and you can get it without taking any risky exposure, K-Mets, in the FE3 Rebalance Pool.
It's all immediately claimable. There's no vesting. It's all yours, baby. There you go.
That's special. That's special. And just like, man, I don't know. I'm gonna try not to do this, but every time I think about the rebalance pool, I think that is the special sauce for FFX. That's it. That's this is how. This is the ingredient that, on first blush, you're like, okay, it's a thing to help keep it stable. But no, it's a thing that like fundamentally drives the value of the stable side of that pair, right? It's absolutely foundational.
Yeah.
And luckily we're the ones that spotted it first, so.
That's right, yes. So
by inventing it.
going swimmingly. It looks like. I mean, the other day I checked the the balances of the rebalance pools of F8 versus the entire total supply, and it's darn near 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and in fact, we expect that to be the case. Basically, those rebalance pools are kind of like the no-brainer place for FETH to live. But as the utility for FETH increases in the world, already, and we're going to talk about this later, I don't want to get into it right now, but like already there are more places to bring your FETH. But sitting on FETH in your wallet versus in a rebalance pool, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And part of the reason is, and again, this is kind of draws back to my like unreasonable love for the rebalance pool, is that the thing that you risk by being in the rebalance pool is you risk buying ETH, right? You risk buying ETH at a good price. That's the thing that you are risking happen. And it's, of all of the types of risks to take, that's probably the one that I would put at the very tippy top of my list. And I'm getting paid to maybe get a great deal on ETH. So there's not really, there's not really, from my perspective, there's not really a downside there. I mean, obviously, every bit of capital has got its own purpose and its own long-term goal. But I mean, if you watch closely enough, you're not going to, like, if you watch closely enough and you don't want that ETH exposure, you can always move it if it ever happens, right? You can keep an eye on the F of X collateral ratio. But man, it's... Sorry, I got lost, K-Mets. Where were we?
We were just talking about your love for the rebalance pools. It's been interesting just kind of like monitoring them throughout the this incentivization, season one, and they're pretty equally distributed. I mean,
they are
kind of like surprising, maybe a little bit, but yeah.
The conservative one, or that I'm calling the conservative one, it's edging up a little bit. 4.2 or 4.3 versus 3.9. So it's still really close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really close. But yeah, and that was my gut feeling from the beginning. I was shocked, and I still am, frankly, that like a full half of our rebalance pool deposits are in the like aggressive side. Basically, another way to put that is like that people are willing to pay the same, or willing to earn the same rate by taking what I call a bigger risk, right? Because when you get redeemed into FETH and then you automatically buy XETH, like buying any leverage, buying volatility implies higher risk. I think that that's not a controversial statement. No. And so my gut feeling was always like, assume that the higher risk option will also come with a higher APR. Like it must. People will not accept a too low APR in order to take that risk. But in fact, we don't see that, and I think it's because they don't look. A lot of depositors don't look at that automatic XETH purchase as a risk at all, so much as they look at it as a benefit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, and I think they view FXN as a valuable token, and same thing with XETH. I mean, I think for a lot of folks it's the ability to DCA or purchase a sum of XETH at high leverage, or if that was the case, would be kind of ideal. So really cool.
Well, and I hope, well, at least for me anyway, we've seen a lot of XETH performance through a lot of chop, right? You see a lot of chop. It's up, it's down, it's up. If you have an average price change of 0 over a long period of time, but a lot of chop, then as the collateral ratio changes, obviously the leverage changes. And so we've talked about this before, how, if the leverage on the way up is higher than the leverage on the way down, then the net asset value is going to end up trending upwards. And then vice versa, the net asset value can end up trending downwards if the average leverage on the way down is higher than the average on the way up. So, the net value is important for long-term holders, right? You grab XETH now. If you just bought a tranche of XETH and then just sat on it, right? That net asset value is really important to you, because if you're not DCAing in, then the net asset value is basically your portfolio value. And when we go through this chop that's got ups and downs, as the leverage is changing, you can see those changes in the NAV. It never comes back to the starting point that it was, when ETH was the same price. But I think that what hopefully a lot of people notice, and what I certainly noticed, is that all that stuff goes out the window when you hit a little bullish period, right? Where it's like, oh, I wasn't quite, like, maybe it was, maybe I got lucky or unlucky and I got some XETH and it went down with high leverage and up with low leverage, and now I have a little less than when I started. But all of that goes out the window when you get like a rip. And it wasn't, I mean, listen, in the grand scheme of things, these ETH price movements the last couple of weeks have not exactly been eye-watering, but it's a legitimate little rip, and suddenly the value of XETH is crystal clear.
Yeah, it's been cool to watch the protocol sort of like evolve as it grows, and see how adoption has sort of taken on, even though we're still very, very early on. But
well, and people, including us, including me anyway, we have to figure out how to use these, right? Like, we figured out how to provide them and make the tokens make sense, but like, it's the brains in the community that are going to figure out the smart ways to play them, and then they're going to play them off of each other. And
you just ape into XETH. That's all you got to do. There's no figuring to do.
What about DCA? And I thought DCA. I think
yeah, you can do that.
I think that's my baby. But
lot of cool strategies I think will get developed over time.
Yeah.
So very exciting to see.
Absolutely. Did I ever mention that I like the rebalance pool? One of the things about the rebalance pool.
This is new. Never mentioned that.
The rebalance pool also, I found through playing around with it many times, is quite gas efficient. You can get in and out of the rebalance pool without a lot of extra gas costs. And for people like yours truly, who falls a little more on the shrimp side of the spectrum, that's a huge deal. It's a huge deal.
For sure. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Shall we keep rolling?
Yeah, let's keep on keeping on, because
okay.
we've got another way. We've got another way to earn some FX in, and that's with the booster round that's about to launch here.
Oh, yeah. That now the first booster round for FXN was kind of crazy.
And the price of FXN was much lower at that time.
Yeah.
So,
I think this is gonna be an interesting one. I mean, listen. My suggestion here, and this is very much my personal thing, and my hope is that we can really help guide the community towards taking some of your booster voting power. If you are a person who holds booster voting power, it is in your best interest to reward the people who are doing great work. So if you have FXN votes, like VEFXN voting power, whether that be through, your CVX, or maybe you hold VEFXN directly, or XALD, any stuff. If you have that voting power, do yourself and all of us a favor and use at least some of it, maybe even all of it, to get FXN into the hands of the people who are doing the most to actually help F of X and grow it and get it out there. And we have some incredible people in our community who are doing just the amount of work that the community puts in blows my mind every day. It's huge.
We really
and not
do
just
have... Go ahead.
I was gonna say not just Joe Jobs, but going out there talking. We've got people like Cyril and Stark who are doing amazing work, talking to having these little having meetings with all these protocols that we may partner with. We've got CryptoVestor, who is our very own A-team bullhorn. We've got the A-team themselves are just working like crazy with content that makes me laugh and cry and scratch my head. Actually, not cry, mostly just laugh and scratch my head.
Okay, good. I was a little worried.
Yeah. And DeFi Advisor. DeFi Advisor is reminding me he's here. Dude, yes, you are. I mean, listen, I'm trying to highlight the whole A team at once. You never get into a situation where you're calling out individuals, because then it's oh, wait a minute, there's 50 who are amazing, and if I forget any of them. DeFi Advisor, you are our guy.
I
We
feel like
appreciate
Kruger's at
you.
the Academy Awards accepting his
Yeah,
nomination. And I'd like to thank
exactly.
these people and these people. But to your point, it is imperative. I mean, for our community to support everybody and make sure that that we're incentivizing the people that are really helping us grow this thing and get the word out there and making these
Exactly.
winning
And by the
products.
way, side effect of getting these booster incentives out is that the best people in the community who are putting out great stuff see that they get rewarded for the work that they do with us, right? Like that's huge because if you're just a lone gun out there being smart as hell and like making great content, maybe you're making content about stuff that interests you. 5 protocols you make great content for. If one says, "Wow, thanks, here's an amazing reward that aligns you with our outcome. Would you like to do more?" That is how we grow the quality of the community. And it's the reason, I think, or part of the reason why the quality of our community right now is so high. Why we're able to get these awesome folks to like spend their precious time working on Aladdin stuff, whether that's just like lone gun pro forma, like out in the pro forma is not the right word. Lone gun sort of on their own out in the world, like piecework style, or like more formally involved through Aladdin or the contributor team or whatever. Like this is how you do it. This is how you bring in awesome people. Reward them. And it's up to all of us now to do that.
Yep. So, excuse me. Yeah, we'll have we'll send that out. Gosh, if not later today, then very early tomorrow we'll have the booster list out. So
yeah, and your list is new this year, right, man? Or this round.
Yeah, so it's got I think people have had a couple of days to look at it, and but we'll include a link in the for folks to continue reviewing it throughout the booster round, so they can see who's added links and who's been contributing. And so the goal is to make sure that people have a place to go and look and kind of like if they're not sure who's been a contributor or who's done what work, they can go and check that out there. So.
Yeah, and so you've shared that already, right? These are public.
Yeah, these are public. They've been viewable. They should be in the announcements.
I'm just going to drop the link straight in here.
You go.
So basically, if I can give you the high level view of what KMETS did here, was that he put together this tally form that gave all boosters a chance to get their info in. Like the main reason is that we want to make sure we've got up-to-date addresses for everybody so we can pay them. But this time around, KMETS went out and asked for like a little bit of detail about the type of boosting that you do. And the idea is not to be like a comprehensive library of everything that you've done. Just it's to give the voters a quick place to see some of your best work. And by the way, finding the rest of your work once they found your best stuff is usually pretty easy. If you as a booster want to like catalog it in a series of tweets or something, that's maybe not a bad idea if you wanted to go the extra mile. But even just giving people a chance, like we had quite a lot of people who we had quite a lot of voters last booster round come to us and say like, who should I vote for? Like, I don't know, like, maybe they're not as deep into the Aladdin world as the rest of us, but they still want to vote sort of correctly or properly to like be aligned with the protocol. And the problem from the team's perspective is like, we can't really say, oh, go vote for this person, they're great, because that's like, the point is that the team is not choosing how these rewards get allocated. It's supposed to be the community. So the idea here is that everybody who is on this list, everybody who submitted the tally form, has been able to present their own a couple of links to what they consider to be their own best work, and then we can say, go check out the spreadsheet. You can see the kind of stuff that each person has done, and evaluate from there. So it gives people something to vote based on.
Yeah, the community booster rounds is how I really got involved in Aladdin, and it really it's just a really cool way to keep people involved in the community and something to look forward to. And I like it. I like the booster round.
Yeah, no, it's great, and it's exciting, right? Like people can the vote is exciting, and it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing, baby.
It's a whole thing.
Yep. All right. Well, so keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll let everybody know via tweet and Discord once the snapshot's up for voting. So
Yeah, and then vote. Guys, remember to vote. And when I say guys, what I mean is Kruger.
Kruger.
Kruger. Remember to vote. I embarrassingly have failed to vote in probably half of the booster rounds, just based on the fact that my brain barely functions. That's the main problem.
That's not true at all.
I look at the snapshot deadline and I think, oh, okay, no big deal. I'll get to that. And then the next time I look at the snapshot, I think, oh, it's still well in the future. And then I go, oh wait, no, that date is in the past. That date was 3 days. And I am too late.
He's living on another plane of consciousness, folks.
Yeah, I'm just too busy worried about socks. You know, DeFi Advisor, you joke, but that is exactly the problem. I see a shiny thing or like I see a squirrel and it's just like I'm gone. I am gone and I am researching squirrels for the next 3 days. And then when I get my head back above water, then I realize that I missed a lot of stuff. So,
oh, well,
K-Mets is more reliable. Maybe you could remind me, right?
I'll add it to my to-do list, sir. Yes.
Amazing. Thank you.
All right. Kruger's personal administrative assistant.
Yeah, if you can just take care of the things that my brain's function is meant to do.
Yes, Cody, you can lead a horse to vote. That is what I'm going to try to do with Kruger. Oh boy.
Oh, man.
All right. Okay, so that's FX boosting. What do we got next here?
Oh, one more thing. F of X topic. So we are gonna drop a proposal. I think we've been threatening this for a little while. Yeah, my seed phrase. I've offered to give him my seed phrase before to help me with, but no. Then we kind of mutually decided that was probably not a good idea.
Yeah, I don't want that.
He's too honest, guys. He's too honest. And it's, by the way, not available to anybody else. Except maybe Paul.
Yeah.
Okay. FXN emissions for FETH. We've threatened, I think, to make a proposal. This has been on my list, and I have been wrongly ignoring it for too long. So I'm going to try to crank this out ASAP. What it is we're gonna make a proposal to divert a fixed quantity of FXN emissions to the FETH rebalance pool. So right now FETH is earning the staked ETH from the reserve, right? So FETH is backed completely by Lido staked ETH, and the reserve generates income, and that's the sole source of the yields in the rebalance pool, except for now the FXN emissions. So what we're going to do is, going forward, we're going to have that FETH pool be automatically incentivized. We're going to propose, at least to the community, that we carve out a small allocation of the FXN liquidity mining to support FETH as a sort of baseline. Since FETH it's separate from what's going on with FXUSD. And just to kind of put this all in context, when we launch FXUSD, we are looking at launching with, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, Charlene, we're looking at launching with 2 different reserve pairs, right? Reserve like F and X pairs. So we're looking at staked ETH, and we're also looking at Frax ETH. And so the issue with FETH is that FETH is also backed by staked ETH. And because of the way FXUSD works, it's much more likely that if Lido were to participate in incentivizing, they'd be much more likely to incentivize the FXUSD supporting pool. So if I'm not being clear about this, when we launch FXUSD, there will be 2 different versions of a stable, both based on staked ETH, right? And so for FETH, what we want to do is carve out just like a fixed amount of reward so that there is an FXN yield into that FETH pool. And we're going to continue to monitor that going forward. It's not a forever thing necessarily, but we want to make sure to support that FETH XETH pool, that pair. Make sure that it doesn't like completely fall by the wayside when FXUSD comes out, and a lot of the incentives, the FXN gauge incentives, are going to probably be pumped to the tokens underlying that.
There you go. Yeah, I think you characterized that very, very accurately, sir.
So we are going to make that proposal, and it'll go out to the community, and we will say basically, we take a little haircut off the top of the FXN, divert it to the FE3 balance pool, and then all the rest are allocated by the gauge as normal.
Yep. There you go. All right. That is FX for this week.
Just
So,
that.
I think that's it. Yeah.
And it's only 38 minutes past the hour. Already finished FFX. I told you it was a thin week.
Yeah. But we've got some clever stuff. So, so for clever, a new proposals has been put up in the Aladdin forums, and want to get some feedback from folks on it, or bring it to your attention. This is to raise the clever the harvest yield from the incentives, the vote incentives, the bribes, from 20% to 30%. And
the harvest yield fee. The harvest yield fee.
The harvest yield fee. Yes.
Yeah.
And we walk through in the proposal sort of like the reasoning for it, and so the gist of it is by raising that fee, we can basically create less Clev CVX that goes back to the underlying VL CVX holders in Clever, and this sort of like will pull. It incentivizes Clev CVX from the Curve LP to come back into the furnace. That has the side effect of sort of decreasing the discount, sort of like kind of fixing redistributing the ratio of Clev CVX to CVX in the LP, and then that allows for a little bit more liquidity to go in and out of the LP. It also has another side effect of increasing the burn rate as well in the furnace. So
which is like the specific. So okay, the exact proposal is that the harvest fee is going to be if we enact this proposal, what will happen is the harvest fee will go from 20% to 30%. And remembering the harvest fee is that if you have for all of the CVX in the reserve, it votes for maximum yield. That yield is all sold into CVX, and then 20% of that CVX right now goes into the system. Now, the 20% CVX going into the system goes partly to it's basically divided as revenue between the token holders and the platform, I believe. So, and then the CVX itself ends up in the furnace, where so basically the total amount of CVX that was earned by the yield, the real CVX finds its way into the furnace. So where it's sort of exchanged, used to burn Clev CVX, right? That's how you convert your Clev CVX into real CVX. So the idea here is that the additional fee, like we're bumping up the fee from 20 to 30%, but that fee is actually going to be diverted directly and completely to the furnace. Okay. Yes. And what that means, it's not going to go to no part of it is disappearing to token holders or anything like that. So the idea here is that we want to balance out how borrowers pay for borrowing. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. Right now, if you want to use Clever to lever up your CVX, you go to Clever, you bring your CVX, you deposit your CVX in Clever, you borrow Clev CVX, you swap to more CVX, and you redeposit. Now, you just paid twice, or at least you're in the process of paying twice. When you deposit your CVX in the reserve, what's happening is every time that CVX earns yield, 20% or whatever, like the whatever is the fee, comes off the top of your earnings. Okay? And then once you take that Clev CVX and swap it, you're going to swap it through this pool that has a discount. And so the discount is in the like 25, 28% range. And so that's the second fee that you pay. Basically, you can think of the discount in the swap pool as a fee that you pay on taking that leverage. So in the pool, you're paying on the harvest some amount. And this is an important thing. We need to talk about what that amount is, and then you're paying a second on the swap. Right now, the amount that you pay slowly over time in the harvest is teeny tiny, and the amount that you pay upfront in the swap is really high. And so the part of the name of this the name of the game here for this improvement is that we want to try to balance out a little bit those two fees. The amount that you pay like slowly over time on the harvests should be higher, and the amount that you pay instantly on the swap should be lower. And if we can balance those two things out, as Kmet said, it'll have the effect of taking the quite imbalanced Clev CVX and CVX pool and moving it to a little bit more of a state of equilibrium. The discount will get smaller. The like total volume of CVX in that pool will get bigger, and then that's kind of the most important thing, because right now larger players just cannot really work with Clever because there's so little CVX in that swap pool. The swap pool forms a critical part of the loop where you have to get, to loop back around for more CVX. And if there's just not enough liquidity there, then slippage gets insane before you can actually start to do anything in any kind of size. So balancing out the left and right side of that liquidity pool is actually a big unlock for Clever going forward. And that's what we're kind of aiming to do here. And so ultimately, when we say that we're raising the harvest fee, all we're doing is actually reallocating how borrowers pay their fees, right? We put a little bit more in the slow ongoing fee over time bucket that comes on the harvests, so that we can have less on the upfront, this is how much you have to pay in order to swap it fee, right? And that all happens by a huge increase in the furnace burn rate. The furnace burn rate goes up by a lot when we make this change. And so when the furnace burn rate goes up, the repay time goes down, and it makes a bunch of furnace related strategies more profitable, which brings more Clev CVX into the furnace and then ultimately balances that out. That's the theory. That's the way it's all designed to work.
Yeah, Clever. Obviously, whenever I get into sort of like conversations about Clever, I start to realize like how many flows there are and how many sort of moving parts there are, and it's complicated, right? It's a cool system. I mean, it's absolutely cool, but there's a lot of like sort of a lot of moving parts. Yeah, and then you hear things like 20% fee, 30% fee, and you're like, my goodness, it sounds very expensive. We break down in the proposal a little bit. We get into sort of like what those fees actually are if you were to basically utilize your CVX and say like Fraxland or Aave or something like that, in terms of like the borrowing rate and comparative to something. I mean, with non-liquidating leverage, I mean, we'll basically be raising the borrowing fee in an equivalent manner from something like 7% to 14%. So like CRV USD, which is soft liquidations, very very low rate of hard liquidations. That's about like what people are paying for that. So I mean, it's pretty comparable. It's really just sort of a matter of making sure that we're right sizing the product for all use cases. And so that's kind of like what this comes back to.
You can make the argument, and I've thought this several times, that we positioned the fee. We probably didn't position the fee very well when we first launched Clever, because the thing about Clever is that it's a borrowing platform. It's a leverage platform, right? It's not an auto harvester, right? It has an auto harvester built into it, but in fact, what it is a borrowing platform. And so the whole idea of charging fees on the harvest is commonly used for like an auto compounder or a harvester. And we're coming off of concentrator when we built this, and it made perfect sense to describe the fees in those terms, because that is how they are charged, right? But the thing is, when you put a number out like, oh, we pay 20% of the harvest fee, it seems scary, and you also are comparing it to other auto compounders that arguably, that might charge less. The trouble is that it's not an auto compounder. It's a leverage platform. I mean, in fact, it's both. And so, the 20% harvest fee, and you go into the numbers in the proposal, and I really do suggest anybody who kind of knows Clever, who wants to know Clever, and is thinking about the fees, check out the example there to understand it. Because think about it. at a 20% harvest fee, right? Then what you're paying is 20% of the VLCVX's annual yield, right? So if CVX is producing 25%, right, and you're paying 20% of that 25%, then you're talking like 4 and a bit percent is your annual your annual annualized interest cost there. Now you have to factor in that it's only 50% LTV, so it's actually more 9-ish, 9.5. But the point is that borrowing an asset that earns 25 for 9.5% actually doesn't really totally make sense. And it's a crazy low number, and it's because that number is so low that borrowers are willing to take such a big discount when they do the swap later, because they pay so little to have the to get that Cleb CVX in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So they have such a small carrying cost that they're able to take a big upfront haircut. And the fact that they're willing to do that is why that swap pool gets way out of whack. So by rebalancing things, we should be able to have a more reasonable interest fee charged on the borrowing side, which makes sense and should at least be competitive, not like an order of magnitude cheaper than the rest of DeFi. And then that should help stabilize and equalize the swap pool a little bit. And once that happens, then the system, I think, will be far more optimized and have the capacity to grow quite a bit more, I think.
Yeah, we're always aiming to optimize and grow really all our products, and so this is just the next iterative step for
that's the name
Clever.
of the game.
So please go check out the. You know what? I'll post the proposal here, and so folks can go right from the community call and check it out, and make any comments. Please vote and let us know what you think. So
yeah, we're gonna have to respond to Linero. He's not in the call, unfortunately. I was hoping he would join us today. He left a couple of questions on the forum post, asking if additional fee will go to VE Clev holders. The answer is no. This is not an increase the profit of the platform move. This is a optimize the internal flows of the platform move. And then Tui wants to know how it compares to PXCVX and UCVX fees. And my answer to him on that is that's kind of not really the right comparison. Those guys are auto compounders. We are a leverage platform. So if you want to compare it to those guys, you better compare it to both the harvest fees they charge as well as the interest that you have to pay in order to borrow those things, which you actually can't even do because they're not leverage.
Right. Yeah.
They're not leverage protocols. So even if you could borrow those, I can tell you the cost to borrow an auto compounding CVX token would be extremely high.
Yeah, it would be expensive for sure. So yeah, apples and oranges, really. So there you go. That's the proposal. Next, we've got a booster round for Clever as well.
When everybody's in a boosting mood, we're gonna just spread the love. Yeah, absolutely.
Why not? Get some Clev tokens out there for the good folks who are boosting Clever, because Clever needs some love too. So there you go.
Absolutely. Well, and it's also good to do these things kind of overlap, just because it does amount of mental energy to like switch gears into like, okay, I got to go do this like governance thing. Governance is kind of a drag, right? And so if we're trying to get the community to come and do governance, we can, the least we can do is try to make it quick and easy and efficient, and kind of do a couple at once to check all the boxes.
I think that's the quote from the community call, is that governance is kind of a drag. And so that's what you want to hear from your DAO participants.
I mean, it is. Look, let's be real. Listen.
We need a protocol to just come out and just be like, look, we are flat out a dictatorship. You don't have to worry about anything. It's just number go up or number go way down.
Exactly.
You'll never know.
Well, and you know what? But governance is a drag. I'm going to stand by that one. You know what, K-Mets? I'm standing by it. Governance is a drag. You can't tell me that governance has a novelty value the first couple of times you do it, like, oh, my voice is being heard. And then after that, it's like, okay, I get it. My voice is now being demanded, and I have like this kind of obligation to show up and first of all, remember that the vote is even happening, which is hard for some people. And then, show up and like want to do a good job voting as a good citizen, right? And so, we got to do our best to make it painless. That's what we're working on here. So
that is the key, isn't it? And we will certainly try our best to
absolutely
to make it a pleasant experience for Kruger. I'll add that to my administrative duties.
Ooh, and if you could just make that a general objective, not just to do with governance, that would be great.
Now, I'm not a miracle worker. I can only do so much.
Right. Metz, I don't know if you've heard this, but you can't rush a miracle.
This is very true. Yes, especially in the engineering world.
I was thinking especially in the Princess Bride world. That was a movie reference. Never mind.
Oh, was that? Oh, that one I don't. I love Princess Bride, but I don't have it memorized like some.
Really?
I don't have that one.
It might be the most. It might be the most quotable movie ever written.
I don't think so, sir.
I don't know, man. In terms of just like sheer numbers of like quality quotable stuff, and keep in mind it was made in like 1986, and the fact that I'm still going, hey, you can't rush a miracle, you get a lousy miracle. That's
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Mm.
Yoke. All right. Well, concentrator. Let's see. We concentrator tweet yesterday. In case folks haven't, like we said earlier in the call, almost 100% of all FETH is in the rebalance pools, which means,
but maybe it shouldn't be. Because
it leads for some incredible yields elsewhere, like with the CRV, USD, and Frax base pools and concentrators. So, and those are getting ACRV or AFX ETH.
Let's see.
One of those, but the yields are incredible.
Both of the FETH pools on concentrator concentrating into AFRAX ETH.
There you go.
And showing APRs in the 300% range. So that's higher than you normally see on coin, friends.
I like when my stables are in 300% APR.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like that's why I always thought that the thing that really sunk UST was that its yield wasn't high enough. I thought,
of course,
20%.
Yeah.
Is this a yield for ants? That's what I said. Anyhow, guys, we talked about like how f of x doesn't require any liquidity pools in order to operate, and especially thanks to all of these amazing these integrations in the aggregators. We can swap in and out with no slippage, so we don't need those pools. But these pools provide an awesome opportunity for co-incentivizing and like marketing. And so what ends up happening are these pools get created, like the FETH and Frax, the FETH and Curve USD pool, and because they are, because so much attention is focused on the rebalance pool. I don't know why people are always talking about the rebalance pool, but because so much attention is focused there, you get this hyper concentration of these outside of the protocol yields. So boy, check that out if you're into it. Not a lot of people have spotted that yet, and I think that once they do, there's going to be a little bit of an exodus to the to those pools, and that's good news for everybody, because the people who leave will get high yields in the pool in the swap pools and concentrator. The people who stay will get higher yields in the rebalance pool because it's not being as diluted as much. That's win-win situation.
That's right. It's just win-win. Everybody love everybody. It's greatness. You love to see
it's a kumbaya situation, as they say.
There you go. Yeah. All right. And that's really concentrator for the week.
Yeah.
And for
kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, absolutely. For Aladdin, we've got a Twitter space tomorrow. So A Team's going to be hosting
Who are you talking to?
Reserve Finance. They'll be on the space tomorrow.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
that'll be at 6 p.m.
18
UTC.
Yeah, 1800 UTC. What
Yep.
what time is that in our world, K-Mets?
For me, it's high noon.
High noon. All right. So shortly after high noon in mine. So
Yep.
That's,
So we'll be talking all things stablecoin design. So should be a good time.
cool.
And
Well, I can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. That's all we
Wow.
got.
Wow. 9:58 in
We
my
did.
world, in my clock. It's 2 minutes prior to the end of the hour, and we're finished.
We
Oh
nailed it.
man, we might be slipping.
No,
Quick, Charlene. Quick,
never.
Charlene, give us an emergency market update. It's 9:58. We need a 60-second update on the market.
No market update for today. Where at that?
Oh.
And you
okay.
can sing. You can sing for another minute.
Oh, we could sing. Do you know, every time people ask me to sing, I always think of a barbecue sauce commercial.
How
that,
often are people asking you to sing?
Regularly. It's usually me. When I say people asking me to sing, what I mean is
Volunteer it?
asking me not to sing once I've started. But the point is that they are saying, "Hey, could you please something singing?" And I think, "Okay, sure, I can sing louder." Or you know, and I do. But I don't think we should do that right now. I need to figure out the right microphone. That's the problem. I need to figure out
I
the
gotta
right
go
microphone
tune my
settings.
guitar. I gotta
Yes. Well, obviously.
have
Actually,
to go
my guitar's right
put some new
beside me,
strings on it.
and it needs new strings, like The Cure. So.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay. So I think we're laughing. I think we've had a great week. Little update for you guys. Lots of stuff. I mean, we always say this. We didn't really this time. A lot of stuff behind the scenes. A lot of stuff happening. We one kind of fun thing that's coming that we hope to share probably around the time of the FXUSD launch is a thing that I've been working on with with K-Mets and with the team is this how it works article. This I've got we referred to it actually in the launch article of FXUSD for anybody who had the misfortune of reading that. They I called out in that article, like we got one that coming out that talks a little bit more about the nuts and the bolts. The time to release that, I think, is going to be USD is live. Obviously, you don't want to completely show your hand before you actually have a product in the wild, and so that's the idea. But let me tell you, I'm pretty excited about this one, K-Mets. You've seen it.
Yeah, Kruger really he outdid himself.
Oh, thank you. Best diagrams I've ever done. That's what I'll tell you.
I think it's very clear. I think if folks are still kind of like scratching their heads a little bit after this article, I think the puzzle pieces will all come together. So
yes, exactly. Or I hope so anyway. So it'll be a nice one. You can send it to your grandma if she wants to know how FXUSD works, which she probably will once she starts hearing about it on CNN.
Well, she keeps talking about the rebalance pools. So
yeah, well, everybody's talking about the rebalance pools, right? They're just
Hey guys, one last quick reminder for the booster rounds, be sure to go ahead and lock your FXN and your Clev tokens.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget, like if your tokens aren't locked, you can't vote with them. So
it makes it very difficult because then you've got to send a Raven.
Absolutely. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And if you happen to hold, and by the way, that also goes for your if you've got like CVX in your wallet that you were for some reason not vote locking and you were going to vote lock it directly instead of using Clever like you should. Then you gotta lock that to have it be ready to be ready to vote.
That's right.
And yeah, like there's a zillion ways to vote in these things, and you just want to make sure you've got all of your governance ducks in a row. So don't forget, lock, Clev, FXN, and your CVX if you're going to go that
CVX.
route.
What else?
Um,
Staked ALD.
and SD FXN, I believe, participates
go.
directly, right? So
Yes.
so yeah,
correct.
boy, it's man.
Somebody once
Governance
told
is a
me
drag.
that somebody once said that. Yeah, I remember that, and they're not 100% wrong.
Ah, that's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me.
Oh boy, we're having some fun, aren't we, kids? Okay,
Always, guys.
that's it. That's
It's
all we
now
got.
finally 2 minutes past the hour, so now we've been able to stretch it to the point where we went overtime, and
Yes,
I'm now
as
comfortable
expected.
closing this off.
That's
Yeah.
right. All right. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you joining for this week.
Have
see you
an
in the
awesome
Discord.
week. Hang out in the Discord, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Okey-doke.
Y'all, oh no, I'm speaking like a Texan. I'm
Yes.
spending too much time with
Yeah, what's that all about?
Yes, guys. Speak soon.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank